All right, let's get it started. Good dang morning. That music's going to start again. Hello. Happy Tuesday, often known as Twitter Tuesday around here. I really only have, sort of only have one topic today, and that's regarding that over there. The media's perfect storm from yesterday over the last couple days. And I really want to look at, I don't know, is this going to be that little spark that's going to start a new summer of love? We'll see. I think the investigators and authorities in this one have acted quickly, but I'm not so sure if that's going to help, because it seems like the perfect incident of the many incidents that have happened over the last several days. And this is the one that the media has chosen. So we're going to talk about this one and maybe a couple more, maybe a couple other minor things, but that's what today is going to be about. I hope you are having a good morning. Let's get this thing started. Johnny, play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Alrighty then, shall we get this thing started? Stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I am your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet, and welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel, where we talk about things that are in black and white. I want to thank you all for joining me today. First, though, we have our first sponsor of the show, GunFox61. Thank you, sir. You are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day, dropping a couple Hamiltons into the tip jar. Greatly appreciated. And with Hamilton's coming from Mr. Gunfox, you know that there's a couple stories that are meant to blow my mind, and I don't mean in a good way, like, didn't I blow your mind this time? Didn't I? Oh, that ain't the one. This is head explosions and shit like that. So anyway, let's say hi to everybody. We'll get it started because I got a lot to get through. First in the chat over on Rumble would be Avocados W gets the bell. Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here first, sir. Also, good morning to Mike Savage, Blarg, and that's it. That's everyone on Rumble. That's all. So if you're, well, I guess we'll figure it out later. By the way, Gunfox did another one. Thank you very much for the second one. I got that one too. Thank you, Gunfox, dropping another Hamilton in the tip jar. All right. Also on YouTube, good morning first in the chat to Rotten Corpse, who gets the bell. Well done, sir. Also, good morning, Avocados Diabli, Dr. Funkenstein's Ghost, Mike Savage, Blarg, Simon Wilkins back. Be right back after watching Memology 101 video. I haven't seen it yet either. Also, hello to Nomads in the house.
Hammer time.
Also, Simon Wolfwood, Lord Stanhope, Gulf City, DCC, aka Blink 182, Scribe Light, Dog Thrapple, and thank you for pumping them likes on the show. Also, good morning to Swirlies in the house. Ex-Bubba Hotep's back. Nice to see you. Your boy Pat. What's up, Pat? How you doing, brother? Hello from work. Hello to you too, sir. And of course, Gunfox61, the ever-present and let's see, what's I going to say? Irreplaceable. That's what I say. Irreplaceable keeper of the Discord for the P-Dog 9 channel. So if I missed anybody, I don't think I did, but as people roll in, I'll say hi and stuff. So anyway, let's get started with what's happening in the world. There's only a couple of Twitter trends that I thought I would mention this morning, although why is Brock Lesnar trending? Was there some kind of a wrestling event last night? What the hell? Brock Lesnar's trending. Oh, Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar at WEE Backlash is now official. Okay, well, I don't know what that is, and It's weird. Oh no. Okay, never mind. I don't care. I'm not even going to put it in the links today. If you want to figure out why Brock Lesnar's trending, that's all. But things that are trending that I do find interesting, of course, tax day. Oh, wait a minute. I was going to hit the button there, and then I screwed up. Okay, let's, is tax day. Tax day is today. This is the day. I don't know why they gave you an extra day. Filed your taxes yesterday is the deadline. It's the last day to file or submit your returns from 2022. If you need an extension with a deadline of October 16th, you must request it by today. The IRS offers free guided tax preparation for those earning $73,000 or less a year, which usually if you earn less than that, you should be able to do an easy form, but whatever. So anyway, and if you really, look, I don't want to talk about tax pay. Oh, here's interesting, though. Tax day is today in America. Next time someone bloviates about the wealthy should pay their fair share, show them this. It won't shut them up, but it will expose their ignorance. 80% of taxes will be paid by the top 10% of earners. Now, someone will probably try to counter that with, well, the top 1% has this much of the wealth. Well, you know what? Most of these top 10% of the reason you who are not the top 10% have a job or have income, or you might be just doing it on your own. But anyway, everyone pays their fair share. It just happens. Ted Cruz abolished the IRS on tax day. You know, they really could just, I'm still for a flat tax with a simple form, tax all income the same. I don't care what it is, capital gains, whatever, and put it at 1%, and then you could do your taxes on a postcard. That would be the easiest way. But no, we've got thousands and thousands of pages in our tax code, and it just doesn't. No one cares if it's. Some people just don't give a shit. So Lauren Boebert, today is tax day, the day we all have to give our hard-earned money so that the government can ship it off to foreign lands and corrupt governments. But President Joe Biden also has a message. It's tax day in America. I'm not done fighting to build the fair tax code and make the super wealthy pay their fair share. Whoa, it's going to be, oh my gosh, every time we hear fair share, we should ring the bell too. The economy where a millionaire pays less in taxes than an educator is an economy that doesn't work. Okay, let's just dispel that stupid myth. No, I don't think there's any millionaire who pays less in taxes than an educator. Now, they might pay less in individual income tax in a single year because of the way they pay themselves, but the idea that they pay less in taxes is ludicrous. Those millionaires probably pay a whole bevy of other taxes, including they match your income tax. If they're a business owner, they match the tax of every person they employ to this federal government. So it's not like they don't pay any tax. It's just a stupid statement. They pay property tax. They pay this tax. They pay tax on the luxury crap they buy. They pay all kinds of taxes. One type of income tax. It's funny because I laugh when, who was it? Warren Buffett once said, well, I pay less taxes than my secretary. Hey, Warren, first of all, and again, he's saying a lower rate, a lower effective rate. Look, Warren Buffett, if you are upset that you pay less taxes than anybody, you are perfectly free to give as much money to the government as you want to give to the government. Shut the fuck up. Okay, I swore early in the show. I don't know if that's going to affect me or not. Anyway, so there. So the idea that the wealthy aren't paying their fair share, BS. That's a big hunk of bullpucky. Shut the hell up. All right. Also today, trending on Twitter, John Fetterman. Yes, the love child between Lurch and Uncle Fester is back in the United States Senate. Good morning, Cannibal Wizard and Jimmy Das Hotep and Septus Wolf over on Rumble. Thank you for joining me over there. Good morning, fake news expert over on YouTube. So anyway, Now, Ed Krasenstein is ecstatic that John Fetterman is back over in Congress. Here, let's do even the bigger one here. Yeah, today is John. Today, here, I'll do it in an Ed Krasenstein voice. Hey, Tex AG 007. Welcome back to U.S. Senator Fetterman. Today, John Fetterman returned to the U.S. Senate after taking a leave of absence due to clinical depression. 17.3 million Americans, over 7% of our population, suffer from depressions. Okay, Ed and his brother, his uglier brother, what's his uglier brother's name? Brian. They're the propagandist talking point kings of the world. Anyway, he says this man should be viewed as a role model. Yeah, just like Charles Barkley. Anyway, he is for how he has handled depression. Instead, Republicans make a mockery out of him, alienating everyone else who suffers from similar conditions. You know what? I'm going to guess it's not the depression part that people worry about. It's the fact that he's not 100% functioning. And I don't look, I don't like his politics either. So anyway, he showed up yesterday at the United States Senate building in this signature, basketball shorts and hoodie. Had that homeless vibe, but you know what? I don't fault John Fetterman for his condition, his still suffering from a stroke, or the fact that he suffers from depression. I'm wondering how he can function in the United States Senate, and I think it was cruel for his family and the Democrats to push him as a candidate. I don't have any personal feelings about John Fetterman, except for the fact that he, pointed a shotgun at a jogger, but nobody wants to talk about that. So anyway, enough about John Fetterman. He is trending because he's returned to the Senate. Now, lots of people are talking about it. Do I need to go down there? You can figure out what you want. Oh, here, in fact, speaking of which, so here is John Fetterman's long anticipated return to the United States Senate, courtesy of what's the goofy little dude's name? Terrence K. Williams, the little funny dude. Here's Terrence K. Williams on John Fetterman returning to the Senate. Here, oh.
How you doing, Senator?
Welcome back, Senator.
What you got on?
Senator,
How are you feeling, Senator?
Senator, are you confident?
How he feeling?
Full 6 years.
How he feel? He must be hot and cold. He got on a hoodie and some b-ball shorts. Featherman, this supposed to be your first day back at work, but you dressing like it's your first day back at the gym. Get back in that car, turn around, and go home and put on a suit and tie and dress like you ready to be somebody's senator. You know what? You need to stop dressing yourself. Stop picking your clothes out. You don't need to pick your clothes out no damn more.
Okay, so anyway, there you go. Oh, stop. I won't play that again. All right, so anyway, John Fetterman's back. Yay. All right, what's wrong with a hoodie and shorts? Well, nothing if you're living in a tent on the corner in San Francisco or whatever, or if you're going to the gym to play some hoops with the brothers, and the not brothers, and not everyone who goes to the gym is playing basketball as a brother, but anyway, because I know that because I used to play basketball a lot. Oh, but now people are watching. Now look, here's okay. Here's the touche. Okay, here's the touche. Of course, somebody has, and of course they come up with something, and it may be a fair point actually. I'm gonna give you the other side of this. This is a fair point. Seeing a lot of the usual MAGA suspects criticizing John Fetterman for his gym attire yesterday, getting dropped off at the Senate. So here all you go. Yes, these people who probably were working out in the Senate workout room, Ted Cruz and whoever these two guys back here are, clearly, they were dressed not to return to the Senate. Now, the fact that Fetterman dresses like that most of the time, and these guys probably normally wear suits, I I don't know if that's a good touche or not, but there you go. There, I'll give you the other side. Whoever wants to hear it. And finally, the other third thing that I thought pulled out of the trending topics was apparently Ukraine Nazis are trending. I don't know why, but a lot of people are apparently talking about it. Now, this is some Russian flag person saying Nazis in Ukraine are back trending on Twitter. It's no secret that Ukraine is full of Nazis who need to be eliminated because of their policy of genocide. Ukrainian Nazis are being funded by NATO to fight a proxy war against Russia. Now, not all of those people in Ukraine are Nazis, but apparently not that I prefer Russia, but whenever the establishment, EU, US, deep state wants us to believe something, you can guarantee the opposite is true. F anyone with a Ukrainian flag in their profile for being a hypnotized zombie, Ukrainian Nazi. So I guess that's why people are talking about Ukrainian Nazis. What? Ukrainian Nazis are beating Ukrainians. Okay, I don't need to. Apparently it's a war crime perpetrated by the Ukrainian army. Here's a video of them detaining their own citizens trying to escape. So I don't know. If you really want to get into that hashtag, you can. I just figured it was interesting that it was popped up. There wasn't any particular incident they're talking about. Ukrainian Nazis killed tens and not hundreds of thousands of Jews in Ukraine during World War II. Ukrainian Nazis are as vile as the German ones. You allow monuments to be dedicated to local Holocaust perpetrators. Okay, whatever. All right, so there you go. There's what's trending. Now, let's get to the articles Gunfox sent me, and then we'll get into the main topic today. Oh boy, what am I getting into here, Gunfox? What do you got here for me? Did somebody else just show up too? Did I miss somebody? I did not. Okay, I'm not sure. Nope, we're good. All right. So, the first article Gunfox sent me, dropping a Hamilton in the tip jar. And if you ever want to do that, drop articles, I'm happy with that. If you drop them in there and you can throw a couple bucks in the tip jar, I'll stop what I'm doing for breaking news, as HB would call it. I'm not gonna steal his breaking news shtick. I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble with my sounds. Shtick. But I will still honor people who put news in and with some green stuff. So there you go. So the first one is referring to Vice President Kamala Harris, the woman who got horizontal to make her career go vertical, as Jericho Green would say. Kamala Harris embraces new role in Biden administration to support women's rights. Wow, that's I'm stunned that that's a new role for her, because what? So Vice President Kamala Harris needs to do better what is this from? Who is Tom Handy? Tom Handy sharing information about Texas politics and the movers and shakers you need to know. He's from El Paso. Okay. Vice President Kamala Harris needs to do better as the lead on the migration crisis. Oh, you mean the border czar thing? I thought we completely forgot about that. She has faced criticism over her move as President Joe Biden's key point person on immigrants coming to the country. A report came out that said, quote, a former President Biden administration aide said it was no secret that Harris, who was not as steeped in foreign policy as the president, was wary of taking on the migration issues when Biden gave her the assignment in the early days of the administration. End quote. So, though she's halfway through the Biden term in office, she may have a new role that could help President Biden as he seeks re-election in 2024. Oh, I am just so happy that Joe Biden is seeking re-election. Holy smokes.
Your life makes me sad.
President Biden, the vice president has led the White House message on women's rights regarding abortion. Now, has she? I guess maybe. I haven't really heard much from her. The media, like most vice presidents, the media doesn't necessarily cover her that much. And that's not unusual, I guess, for vice presidents. Although I think she gets a little more coverage because she's a female vice president. Just like yesterday, was it yesterday we talked about Buttigieg? Have you ever heard of a transportation secretary get as much coverage and ink and interviews and shit as Pete Buttigieg. And I think it's because he's gay. Now a lot of people say, let me do a little aside here. I'll come back to this article, I promise. Let me do a little aside here because when I was on Twitter yesterday, I was reading down this thread on Pete Buttigieg, and someone's like, oh, Republicans only talk about Pete Buttigieg and whatever, blah, 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 because he's gay. They hate him because he's gay, blah, 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 blah. No. I don't, I don't necessarily consider myself Republican anymore, although I'm still on the right. But I don't talk about Pete Buttigieg because he's gay. I wouldn't talk about Pete Buttigieg at all if the media and everyone else didn't constantly put Pete Buttigieg in my face. Because normally you never hear about the transportation secretary. And so my contention is the only reason they constantly put Pete Buttigieg on TV is they put him on because he's gay, okay? Because otherwise you would not hear from the transportation secretary at all. A bit rarely. I mean, how many times did you hear from Elaine Chao when she was the transportation secretary? You didn't. You don't hear about cabinet members that much anyway. But Pete Buttigieg, he's on. And plus, here's the other thing, okay? So Pete Buttigieg's little thing yesterday, I did one of those short videos about this. But anyway, and the other reason too is like he had that little short where he was talking about, he said something about, races, and then he said black and brown and Americans and tribal people and people who are rural. He starts mentioning all these demographics, right? That's because Pete Buttigieg was a candidate for president that everyone really liked, as Democrats at least, but then they made you take Joe Biden because they thought he had the best chance to beat Donald Trump, and they kind of forgot about those guys. But then they put, like Kamala Harris, who didn't have any traction at all, but Pete Buttigieg being gay and running for president, he's a future candidate. He's supposedly a rising star in the Democratic Party. So even though he's only the transportation secretary, which nobody usually pays attention to, they put Pete Buttigieg in your face as often as they can. They put him out to talk about shit and whatever and whatnot. So there you go. That's why they're constantly talking about Pete Buttigieg. Yes, the American and rural races. Yes, that's what he said. He said races, black and brown, and then he said, I'm sure he meant black and brown Americans, but he said black and brown and Americans and the tribal and rural and whatever. He made everybody a race because they're all demographics that Pete Buttigieg wants to talk into voting for him in some future date. So that's why they put Pete Buttigieg in your face constantly. They do it because he's gay. They do it because he's a future candidate. And so that's it. Good morning, Jaeger Pony, my favorite Canadian. How you doing? All right, back to this article that I am really going on tangents about. So anyway, President Biden has denounced Republican governors who have limited women's rights on abortions, including Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. While Biden was in Ireland, Vice President Harris may have found her calling as she is more comfortable talking about pro-choice and abortion. Well, that's because Joe Biden used to be anti-abortion a long time ago, and also because Biden really doesn't know what he's talking about unless somebody writes it for him anyway. So anyway, last year, as the Supreme Court overturned a 50-year decision on Roe versus Wade. Look, they always talk about, well, you can't turn over a Supreme Court decision. Well, Plessy versus Ferguson has been overturned for several years. Anyway, since the decision, Harris has led 40 events on abortion rights, visited 13 college campuses, and she gave interviews with 20 local media outlets supporting abortion. At a rally on Saturday in Los Angeles, Vice President Harris said, when you attack the rights of women in America, you are attacking America. Well, except for the Americans the American women who are also anti-abortion. But anyway, and then California Governor Gavin Newsom has encouraged people from Texas and other locations to move to the state as abortion is still legal in the state. people are leaving California for a reason. Okay, California sucks. Now they might go to a different state that has abortion, but they're not going to move. People aren't going to move to California. Sorry, it's just sad. Sorry, crappy place that's getting worse every day. So that was the first article Gunfox sent me. Thank you, Gunfox. I appreciate that. Now, next, moving on, we'll go to the second article. Let's see. Oh, is this the one? Debt ceiling plan? Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay. Let's put it on the screen. McCarthy makes plea for Republicans to back debt ceiling plan. Okay. Speaker McCarthy made a plea to House Republicans during a closed-door meeting Tuesday morning to back his debt ceiling plan, telling them that although it doesn't have to include everything they want, it will help get him to the negotiating table. McCarthy also told members that once he is at the table, he can push for other policy provisions down the road, according to multiple sources in the room, underscoring the idea that leadership sees the GOP-only plan as purely a way to strengthen their hand at the negotiating table. Now, remember, this is a story from This Is CNN. So there you go. Good morning, Somnambull Nation. House Republicans are insisting that any increase in the debt limit must be paired with spending cuts, while the White House argues that the limit should be raised without any conditions. McCarthy wants to move the debt limit bill through the House as a way to put pressure on the White House to come to the table for negotiation, even if the bill won't pass the Democratic-controlled Senate. The challenge now for McCarthy is whether he can unite his conference behind a plan amid internal divisions between different factions. Okay, so the closed-door meeting kicks off a difficult push for GOP leaders to wrangle 218 votes for a proposal to raise the debt ceiling and reduce federal spending. McCarthy walked members through his proposal, which includes clawing back unspent COVID-19 funds, 10-year caps on spending, prohibiting President Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness, and enacting a GOP energy bill. House Rules Committee Tom Cole told CNN that the GOP debt limit bill will be on the House floor next week. So that's going to be a very interesting fight. We'll see if they puss out, so to speak, and see how that goes. All right, now. Listen, the economy's not going to destroy itself. Yeah, very perfect. That is so true. Avocados Diablo. The only trade Buttigieg wants is a train ran. Oh, stop it, cannibalistic wizard. Like he's an ex-Tennessee cop. Oh, damn. That's funny. Some funny shit. In fact, you need one of these. I know I didn't say the whole thing out loud, but I think everyone will get the gist of it. Okay, now let's move on to the topic of the day, which, if you remember, I'm going to put this back on for a second. White man, black teen, the media's perfect storm in Kansas City. Now, there have been some events over the last few days that you would think would make some sort of national news. Okay. Well, no, not necessarily. But there are several incidents over the weekend that you go, okay, how is the media going to cover this? How is the media going to cover that? How is the media going to cover that? And then this incident in Kansas City, which is a terrible incident. I'm not even, pretending that it's not, because it is a terrible incident. Is encapsulated by how the media would normally cover things by this Washington Post article. White Kansas City man, 84, charged in shooting of black teen. Hello, those ain't real, dude, by the way. Calling for the activation of the 1 week rule. Yes, I see that. I am going to call for the 1 week rule, but from what we have so far, it really seems like this old man may have, I hate the term because there's no pun intended here, but he jumped the gun a little bit. Okay. So apparently this, let's go how the Washington Post covers it first, and then we'll move on to how it's some reactions, because clearly this is stirring up tensions in Kansas City. There's protests and whatnot going on. Ben Crump is already representing the family and all this other crap. But there's some curious aspects to it too that are worth mentioning. So 16-year-old Ralph Carl was shot twice, once in the head after knocking on the wrong door after being sent by his parents to retrieve his siblings from a friend's house. Now, there have been several different... Oh, God, I forgot his family. Never mind. I'm not even going to read that. Now, there's been... When this was initially reported, some outlets said that he entered the home. Some said he just rang the doorbell. This article starts out that he knocked on the wrong door, which all three may or may not have relevance. The walking in might, but if it's ringing or whatever. There was also said that the white man shot him through the door. Some say he shot him through a window. So we're just going to go through this article and go through it. 84-year-old Kansas City man. Oh, excuse me, a white. Now it's funny because whenever there's an article like this, the only time that they will use the demographics is when the perpetrator or so-called whatever is white and the victim is black, and it's time-tested, notable, whatever. But there are some interesting takes that I've seen that do not point that out, or different outlets that do not point that out, which surprised me, and we'll go through some of those in a minute. But let's just get the plain, regular article based on the Washington Post account of this, and then we'll show you a couple others. The man is charged with 2 felonies after opening fire on a black teenager who rang his doorbell after showing up at the wrong home to pick up siblings. Authorities issued an arrest warrant for Andrew D. Lester, who is charged with felony assault and armed criminal action, one of which carries up to a life sentence if convicted. Lester shot 16-year-old Ralph Yarl twice, once in the head late Thursday, according to Clay County Prosecutor's Office. Now the prosecutor is going to throw in there was a racial component to this case, though he did not offer specifics, according to prosecutor Zachary Thompson. Lester is not in custody. He told police that it was the last thing he wanted to do, but he was scared to death because of the teenager's size and his own age and inability to defend himself, according to the criminal complaint. He believed he was protecting himself from a physical confrontation and could not take the chance of the male coming in. The complaint said of Lester, he was visibly upset and repeatedly expressed his concern for the victim. Yarl, who is recovering from his injuries at home, rang Lester's doorbell. By the way, the kid has been released from the hospital. He's still in, as of I think late yesterday, but he was in critical condition initially. Carl, who was recovering from his injuries at home, rang Lester's doorbell, mistaking it for the home where his younger siblings were visiting a friend, according to attorneys for the family. The teenager's parents had asked him to pick up a sibling at a residence on 115th Terrace, but instead he went to a residence on 115th Street, a block away. Yarl arrived to take his brothers home, but instead was met with bullets. The bleeding teenager sought help from neighbors before he collapsed at the end of one family's driveway. And now, interesting too, he went to, I think, 3 different homes and people didn't help him. So I'm curious of what the neighborhood is in this case. Is it a neighborhood that's, has more crime in it? Is it not? Why would this old man be scared of one kid ringing his doorbell? It's really a strange case. And I'm curious too if this old man had been harassed before, which is no excuse. He has absolutely no excuse for firing outside a door, not knowing what's going on. He could not have, I don't know how he could have feared for his life in this case, but that will get sorted out probably through a trial, I guess. The shooting has drawn national attention. Why has it drawn national attention? There have been several incidents this weekend that probably should have drawn national attention that aren't, but this one is. Why? White man, black teen. Okay? And so it's interesting because the media, hello Kay, what's up? you just got that because I'm glad to see you here. Because the media wants this scenario because this is the one that they're telling us happens all the time. All the time. There's always these white people killing black kids. No, you publicize and every single one of these incidents. So it seems like it's all the time when in reality, well, there's a question at the end of one of these tweets that I'll answer now. Why does this happen all the time? No, it doesn't happen all the time. Or how do you stop black kids from being target? Well, first of all, sometimes you got to take them out of the hood because that's where they're most likely to be shot or die or whatever, be killed. Not this old white man. This is a rare incident. Maybe that's why they publicize it, because the most common incidents where black people are dying all the time, they don't give a damn about. And that's what bothers me about things like this. But anyway, hello, Ebony Williams. What's happening? Nice to see you. So anyway, let's see. President Biden spoke by phone with y'all on Monday and shared his hope for a swift recovery. That's very nice of the president to do. I'm curious how many phone calls he made this weekend, though. Or is it just this one, black teenager shot by a white guy? I'm curious. W.R. Costin, nice to have you back. Kessler, how you doing? So anyway, let's be clear. No child should ever live in fear of being shot for ringing the wrong doorbell. Vice President Harris said that. No child should ever live in fear of being shot for ringing the wrong doorbell. And my question, well, how about going to a birthday party? We'll talk about that little incident in Alabama soon. Did Biden call Alabama this weekend? I'm curious. Did Biden call the girl in Chicago and who got beat up by the roving gang of crazies? Did Biden call the shop owner in Los Angeles that got raided by a bunch of wilding, little punk ass motherfuckers? I doubt it. But white man, black teen. That gets a phone call. That gets protest. That gets Sean King doxing the man before they even arrested him or threatening to dox him. Will his home even be there when he gets back, wherever he is? I don't know. Anyway, was she killed? Did she die? And the girl the one in the video in Chicago? Oh yeah, the girl who was shot in the driveway. Yeah, I got that one too. Did President Biden call her? We'll find her family. I don't know. Anyway, as someone who is still recovering from a gunshot to the head, I'm heartbroken. Former Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, who was injured in a 2011 shooting, said on Twitter, the case should reinvigorate the debate over stand your ground laws, which have become a flashpoint in national disputes over gun violence, self-defense, and racial profiling, particularly after the fatal shooting of Trayvon Martin, a black teenager, in 2012. So again, they're going to drudge up every black teenager, right? Now, the Trayvon Martin case went to trial. And whilst people still dispute what happens, the evidence, at least that the jury saw, that was probably a self-defense case. Now, should have Zimmerman been gone? Yeah, sure, why not? But he was attacked at least according to the reports, he was attacked while he was on his way back to his car. I feel awful for Trayvon Martin's parents, but the fact that the only one witness saw him on the ground beating Zimmerman's ass kind of leads credence to the self-defense idea. Anyway, civil rights attorney Ben Crump. Oh, yes! Ben Crump is in the house. And Lee Merritt. Oh, my gosh. The dream team of... the dream team of... I don't have a name for him. So was this an actual racial act? We don't know. That's just it, Ebony. We don't even know. But it's a white man and a black teen, so it's a racial act according to the people who thrive on that type of thing. Crump and Merritt, who are representing Yarl and his family, said in a statement that Yarl is alive and recovering at home, but that he has severe injuries. He was shot twice and struck in the head and arm by an unidentified white male assailant. The statement said, adding that you're well, they know who the assailant is now. Merritt said in an interview that police had taken the teenager's statement in which he described ringing the doorbell, waiting in silence between 3 and 5 minutes, then watching the door open. He then saw a man appear. The homeowner, according to the teen's recollection, said something about not wanting him to come around anymore and opened fire on the boy's face from behind the screen glass door. So that gets me to think. Now, again, this does not justify this shooting whatsoever. However, it also gives me the idea that perhaps this isn't the first person who was at his door. And I'm assuming this teen clearly wasn't the one, but whoever else he was thinking of was probably harassing him. He's an old white dude. Seeing black kids, probably thinking black kids look the same. I'm guessing that statement about him not wanting him to come around anymore may have been meant for somebody else, is my guess. But it, again, absolutely does not justify what he did. He shot through a door at an unarmed person. As far as anyone knows, he wasn't in a threat. So, anyway, however, the prosecutor said the evidence did not show that any words were exchanged between Jarl and Lester before the gunfire. The prosecutors said the evidence did not show that. Well, I don't know. I mean, the only evidence he would have would be between the whoever they question. So I don't know what that means. What does that mean? The prosecutor said the evidence did not show any words were exchanged. What? Did they have one of those Ring doorbells or something? A video doorbell that shows other evidence? Anyway, according to the criminal complaint, Lester had just laid down in bed when he heard the doorbell and went to the door. His house has an interior door and an exterior storm door. He opened the interior door and saw a black male he perceived to be 6 feet tall pulling on the storm door, which was locked. Lester told the police he was afraid somebody was trying to break into his house and opened fire from a Smith & Wesson .32 caliber pistol within seconds of opening the door. Jarl said in his statement to police he did not pull on the door and was shot immediately. Well, except for first he said words first. So it could have been not wanting him to come around anymore and open fire. So there was something between that, but it was still a short period of time. Again, it doesn't justify this at all. Good morning, Johnny Hellcat, by the way. And also, Reaction Puerto Rico, you lovely island. Zach Double, 20, who lives across the street from the alleged shooter, said he was listening to a podcast Thursday evening when he and his mother heard a banging on the door and the teen saying he'd been shot. They called 911, he said, but didn't open the door right away because they were not sure whether he was the victim or the shooter. Jarl walked down the stairs and collapsed at the end of the driveway, leaving a trail of blood behind. Okay, that might be a plausible reason why when he went to 3 different places, people didn't open the door. You hear gunshots, and then you see someone banging on your door who's saying they're injured. You don't know whether or not that's the person who did the shooting. So I can understand that. Because people were mad. Well, they wouldn't even help him. He just, I was like, well, why wouldn't they help him? Oh, you hear gunshots and then someone's banging on your door? You're probably wary. So anyway, let's see. Sounds like the old man was paranoid. Yes, it does. And I wonder if there's any reason he was paranoid. That's what I was saying. I'm like, maybe he had some other person harassing him, doesn't see real well, and sees a black kid who could have been the person who's harassing him. Because the words the kid said is the clue that I'm curious about. So the kid says, where was it? I lost it. The kid said something to the effect that I don't want you coming around here anymore. He said, here it is. The homeowner, according to the teen's recollection, said something about not wanting him to come around anymore. I mean, it might have been, maybe he has a gay lover and he couldn't see that well and thought it was that. Who knows? But that statement makes me think that maybe this is the first time someone pounding at his door. I don't know. I'm curious about that. Again, doesn't justify what happened, but anyway. Let's see. And then he said, leaving trouble. At that point, they rushed to help, bringing towels to staunch the blood. Double said Jarl told them he was a state high school junior and played clarinet. Double said, why did he tell them? I don't know why they asked about the clarinet. But yeah, he plays bass clarinet. The police and the ambulance arrived quickly and took Jarl to the hospital. So, and then they well, of course, this is the Washington Post. So they start talking about Missouri stand your ground and castle doctrine does not require individuals to retreat when they perceive a threat, but they cannot act in self-defense unless there exists a reasonable fear of deadly force or assault. And that's where I'm kind of saying, he didn't really do this the right way. At home, Missouri homeowners who are in reasonable fear of unlawful force, which is not defined under the law, are permitted to use deadly force in an act of self-defense. But the act of knocking on the door or ringing the doorbell would not be a justifiable reason for unleashing deadly force, Jamison said. And then, of course, this has sparked protests in Kansas City. Hundreds of people, including members of Jarl's family, marched to the residence where Jarl was found in the city's Northland neighborhood, according to the local public radio station KCUR. Many demanded that stronger action be taken against the suspect. So they are indicting the suspect under a couple different charges, and then they go a bunch about other classmates. So I want to move on to how various outlets are reporting this, because clearly it's like, this is journalism Christmas for the news outlets who love the white man, black teen scenarios. Again, AP, racial component in shooting of Ralph Carl, who went to the wrong house, prosecutor says. Now, they say there's a racial component, but they're not saying what it is. Prosecuting attorney Zachary Thompson said at a news conference that there was a racial component Thursday night when Andrew Lester twice shot 16-year-old Ralph Jarl, who was recovering at home. But nothing in the charging document says the shooting was racially motivated, Thompson clarified. I'm pretty sure they just said that to pacify the protesters, maybe. We understand how frustrating this has been, but I can assure you the criminal justice system is working and will continue to work, Thompson said. And then the shooting has outraged many in Kansas City and across the country. Civic and political leaders, including President Joe Biden, demanded justice. Some, including lawyers for Jarl, pressed the racial dimension of the case. Well, yes, because everyone's talking about white man and black kid, even though that might be, especially old man, one of the rare forms of the death of young black men would be the old white man shooting them at the door. That's a rare case versus cases all over the country. But interestingly enough, it doesn't really mention. Oh, yes, it is. First line. An 84-year-old white man in Kansas City was charged with first-degree assault for shooting a black teen. So white man, black teen. In KARE 11, which is my local TV station, of course, 84-year-old white man charged in shooting of black teen. And then there's another poster. This is that's because I'm looking up the white man, black teen. This is the trending whatever topic that is just filled. So HuffPost, 84-year-old white man in Kansas City has been charged with first-degree assault for shooting a black teen. Now, interesting enough, though, the HuffPost story, I don't think starts with that. Man charged after front door shooting of black teen. Okay, you got the black teen part. But then in the subheadline, an 84-year-old white man in Kansas City has been charged with first-degree assault for shooting a black teen. Which is pretty terrible. Again, Washington Post, white man, black teen. Now, interestingly enough, though, The Hill, at least from a tweet standpoint, their headline is Kansas City homeowner accused of shooting black teen and being charged with 2 felonies. Now, if you look at their article, let's see. Again, no white man here in the headline. And also, the big test is the first line of the article. An 84-year-old Kansas City homeowner. So he's a Kansas City homeowner in this one who allegedly shot and wounded a black teen last week after he went to the wrong house, was charged in armed assault. So no white man in this one. That's interesting because the Hill normally would toe the line. Now, and I'm looking through this. First paragraph, second paragraph, nothing. Third, fourth, no, nothing here, nothing here. I mean, they don't even mention white man in this article. So that's very unusual for the Hill. How about NBC? Well, charges filed in shooting of Kansas City teen. So they don't even say black teen in the headline. He was confronted by a man, no white man, who told him, "Don't come back around here." And then the man immediately fired his weapon. Interesting. They don't mention it. Now, do they mention it in their first article, in the first paragraph? No. Missouri man who shot a teenager. There's man, teenager. Interesting. Now, they do wait to the second paragraph. They do, though. Missouri man who shot a teenager who rang the wrong doorbell while trying to pick up his younger brothers were charged Monday with 2 felony counts. Second paragraph, though, the white man in his 80s, Andrew Lester, has been charged with 2 crimes in the April 13th shooting of Ralph Yarl, 16, who is black. Okay, so it took them at least a little more ink before they did it. So it's interesting. And then there's articles all over the place. Oh, wait a minute. What is this? What's this from? That's from 2020, April 18th. Wait a minute. Hold on. Because it's interesting, though, that some of the articles, or some of the other incidents, though, that aren't getting the same kind of play. But let me give you a couple of reactions to this, and then we'll get into that. So Maj Toure, he's a Black Guns Matter guy who says the clown who shot the teen in Kansas City shot him through a window after he rang his doorbell. Well, no, he didn't shoot through a window. He shot him through the door, apparently. At least that's what because there's now all of a sudden there's a lot of people saying that he shot him through the window. And that doesn't seem to be accurate, at least according to news reports. They say through the screen door, or, through the door. He opened the door and shot through the door. But one thing he says here that is absolutely correct. Horrible shoot. He should be charged with attempted murder. Well, in Missouri, it's the assault that gives the same effect as attempted murder. Anyone who says shooting through a window with no imminent threat present is dumb. Lock his goofy ass under the jail. Okay. Let's see who else here. Shannon Watts, she's one of the gun grabbing people, whatever. Shannon Watts is the head of Moms Demand in every town, or he's, whatever. They're the people who want to take everyone's guns away. New media are reporting that the Kansas City man who shot Ralph Yarl, 16, is a white man in his 80s. He hasn't been rearrested as investigators consider whether he's protected by Missouri's standing ground law, a deadly law based in white supremacy. Well, no. Because remember, black people have standing ground afforded to them too. Hispanic people have standing ground afforded to them. Asian people have standing ground afforded to them. The law is not based in white supremacy, you moron. But anyway, this was before they had charges against what's his name? I can't remember the old man's name, but this is before they had charges. Good morning, Anna Lynn, by the way. He did nothing wrong. Well, he actually did. He shot through the door. He shot through his screen door, the storm door. If the kid had opened the storm door, maybe. Yeah, if the kid was just walking to his house and he did a mistake, it could be considered a tragic mistake, but I don't know. So far, at least, we don't have evidence other than what the kid said and what the old man said, and he said he shot him through the door. I don't know, but he said he was fearing for his life. They'll have to sort that out in court and see if there's any evidence to any of these cases. But And then Halle Berry, the actress who is an expert in all things, because why? Tweeted, his name was Ralph Yarl, and I'm sick and tired of this feeling. My heart is completely broke when I learned this precious 16-year-old who accidentally rang the door of the wrong address in an attempt to pick up his siblings was shot in the head by a man who didn't want him on his property. Okay, see, this is going to be spun this way. This innocent child is now fighting for his life. He's recovering at home. This could be your child. This should not happen. No, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. I think the man overreacted, right? Because I'm part white. Am I supposed to have partial guilt? Yes, we are supposed to have partial guilt, okay? Please do something today. Join me, and please contact prosecutor Zachary. What? This was 2 days ago. She got people, whatever. Now, interesting, though, Syra Rowe, if you're familiar with Syra Rowe, she's a nutcase. Guns in America are anti-blackness. The Second Amendment is white supremacy and anti-blackness. Hope folks would join our demand to end guns and buy them back. Well, buy them back from what? If you buy guns back, they'll be worthless, right? Because if you buy all guns back, she's dumb. She's dumb. Holy crap, you wrote a book about taking guns away from Jews and black people. I thought South Park flexed. Y'all Colorado women pushed the First Amendment to the limit. Anyway, Syra Rowe's silly person. So anyway, now there's some other incidents that don't seem to be getting as much play. Officials identified 12-year-old boy fatally shot in Southwest Baltimore. Now this is interesting. Now wait a minute. Why? Oh, they screwed up here. This is a different headline for the story in Kansas City. They screwed up. But it does start with an 84-year-old white man was charged with first-degree assault after shooting a black teen. Let's see. Oh, and Jeff Charles has an interesting take too. And I still see no changes. So this is, he put up this video of Tupac talking about violence in the hood or in neighborhoods, whatever. And it has some aproposness to it.
And the main thing for us to remember is that the same crime element that white people are scared of, black people are scared of. The same crime element that white people fear, we fear. So we defend ourselves from the same crime element that they scared of. You know what I'm saying? While they waiting for legislation to pass and everything, we next door to the killer. We next door to him, you know, because we up in the projects where it's 80 in the building. All them killers that they letting out, they right there in that building. But it's better, just because we black, we get along with the killers or something? We get along with the rapists because we black and we from the same hood? What is that? We need protection too.
All right, so he's advocating legality of owning firearms, basically. So, anyway, Kansas. Now, this is the question that the Kansas City Star asks: how do you protect a black kid? Protesters demand justice in shooting of Ralph Yarl. Now, this is obviously before they've charged the man. It's interesting because we only seem to talk about this, at least from a national media standpoint, because local media covers a lot of these life-ending events, right? But only the media only seems to cover these when there is the element of white man, black teen, or white cop, black victim. Or sometimes it's white cop, black perpetrator, but because they were shot by a white cop and then the person was black, it doesn't matter what was happening. Now, the most famous cases were not like that. There was some, there's some fucked up cases in those little cop incidents. There are some, okay, but certainly not a majority of them. A lot of them sometimes are the initiation of violence is sometimes by the person who is being arrested, but not always. Anyway, I don't want to get into that too much. But it's so anyway, their people were out already marching and protesting because of the racial element, and the media seems to like to stir that up. Now, again, here's ABC News. Man charged. Now, their headline doesn't mention it. Man charged in front door shooting of black teen. Ralph Yarl, 84-year-old white man in Kansas City, Missouri, has been charged. Now, they probably just took that straight from the AP. But what's interesting is here's a reaction, though, that I'm interested in. I didn't show you that one on the links, but here's one that's interesting. Omri King, who's a YouTuber guy, and he's kind of funny. He's kind of a comedian type guy. Also a former convicted and imprisoned felon who's now out and does YouTube shit. So 4 dead and 28 wounded at a mass shooting at a Sweet 16 birthday party in Alabama. Shooter's identity not released. 0 protests. 1 black teen injured in Kansas City. Shooter was white. Protesters are currently in front of the homeowner's residence. I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume the mass shooter in Alabama might have been black. I added the might have been. Teddy Shishina, what's up, brother? If the Alabama shooter was white, we would already have that particular piece of information. And that there is facts. There seems to be, quite often, black teens killed by other black teens that you never hear about. These are the 3 that died in Alabama. I think, was it the same day maybe? Or one day before? And yet this is not raging on headlines on national news. And I'm not saying that young Ralph Yarls shouldn't be, but it just is this pattern that is so predictable that when the demographics are right, the media's stirring up some shit. And it's unfortunate that we can't seem to that protest in Kansas City ain't happening in Alabama. And why is that? Because is the media just trying to stir it up more? I mean, you would think that because we know every single name, we know all the names when it's a white cop and a black deceased, or in this case, just an old white man and a black teen. But in this case of Alabama, where are the protests? Now, I think there's let's see, I even pulled up this hashtag Alabama birthday party, because CNN, Washington Post, AP, Reuters, all the majors, even the HuffPost and all these major news outlets covered it. Well, here's an Alabama birthday party. Well, you got now this. Wait, Alabama shooting victims are in their late teens and early 20s. A small community was grieving the loss of 4 young people in a shooting at a Sweet 16 birthday party of the weekend. So, Newsbreak has it. CNN, New York Times, all of them were at the top of the list when you look up Kansas City, but you look up Alabama birthday party. Well, here's 15minutenews.com. Police Tribune. Where's CNN? Where's the New York Times? Where's the Washington Post? ABC News, CBS News, NBC. I'm scrolling through this, and these are the key words on this event. Now here's KIII New TV, and maybe that's in Alabama. Let's look at this article. Alabama birthday girl begged dying brother to stay with me. Alexis Dowdle. Stop clicking all that shit. says when the shooting started at her Sweet 16 birthday, she didn't know where to run because shots seemed to be coming from multiple directions. Her party ended with her kneeling beside her fatally wounded brother on the blood-slicked floor of the dance studio in a small town, Alabama, the bodies of other wounded teens scattered around them. Dowdle told the story of Saturday's terror in Dadeville to the Associated Press on Monday. Surrounded by family, the shooting left the 18-year-old brother, Phil Dowdle, and 3 others dead, along with another 32 injured, some critically. I got on my knees, and he was laying face down. That's when I grabbed him, turned him over, holding him. Okay, look, as of Monday, state officials have yet to release much information about their investigation. The Alabama law enforcement agency said that the shell casings from handguns had been found. So this was, the other part. Oh, that was the other part that was missing. Okay, because I said when I made my headline here, white man, black teen, media's almost perfect storm in KC. You know what the missing element was? There were no ARs. Handgun. And also in Alabama, that's the other thing that will make a story national. If a so-called mass event is done with the scary-looking rifle versus handguns. So this one was just handguns. So they didn't seem to. It's just not as high profile as the white man, black teen, right? The weekend was marked by a series of high-profile shootings in the U.S. One left 2 people dead and 4 wounded Saturday in Louisville, Kentucky. Another resulted in 4 men being shot, 1 fatally in Los Angeles, and a third left 2 women wounded at Lincoln University in southeast western Pennsylvania. Saturday night in Dadeville, about 1 hour's drive northeast of Montgomery, began as it should have, with everybody dancing, vibing to the music. Keenan Cooper, the DJ at the party, told WBMA the event stopped briefly when partygoers heard someone had a gun. He said people with weapons were asked to leave, but no one did. Soon after this shooting started. So that almost sounds like someone came in with a weapon and there was return fire, maybe? I don't know. Dowdle said as she dove to the floor near the DJ as dozens of revelers ran, she didn't know where to run, in part because shots seemed to have come from multiple directions. When there was a break in the gunfire, she bolted to the front door, but somehow someone pushed her. It was her brother trying to protect her. I guess he tried to push me out the door as fast as he could, but I ended up slipping on blood because it was a whole bunch of blood on the floor. And then once outside, she found her mother and stepfather. Where are my cousins? Where are my friends? Where's my brother? And so, but this is, okay, so this is the type of instance that's more common. And still yet, I look at this Twitter feed and the top articles from this incident. Let's go here. Oh, now BBC has it. Maybe I was just looking at the top. No, even though the top articles are not from CNN. They're not from Washington Post. I mean, raw alert. There's CNN finally. All 4 victims killed in the Sweet 16 birthday party in Alabama have been identified. Investigators scrambled to find whoever killed people. So finally, down here, the Associated Press, CNN, are looking at it. So, and this asshole, how fucked up is this? There was a mass shooting in Alabama last night at a birthday party. 4 children dead. Children. Well, they didn't say it was children. There was teens and a couple adults. And it didn't even make a ripple in the news. I had to hear about it from BBC. This is why the rest of the world thinks we've lost our fucking mind. Well, the demographics weren't right, Jeff. That's why you didn't hear about it. It's not a big deal. Kansas City, 1 kid who survived, but he was shot by a white man. Hey, Trippy, what's up? So yeah, it's tragic. Now remember, that's not the only incident either. Apparently, a similar incident happened in. Where is this? Is this Massachusetts? I don't know. Here's the other incident, similar. doesn't seem to be getting the juice.
20-year-old woman was fatally shot after turning up the wrong driveway in upstate New York. Police say Kaylin Gillis was in the car with 3 friends looking for a friend's house in the rural area of Hebron, New York on Saturday night. After mistakenly pulling into the wrong driveway, police say Kevin Monahan came out of the house and fired 2 shots. One of the shots struck Gillis. They then drove to the neighboring town of Salem to get cell service and call for help. Emergency responders performed CPR on Gillis, but she was pronounced dead.
There was really no threat from anyone in the vehicles. There was no reason for Mr. Monahan to feel threatened, especially as...
I'll just end that because I don't need to hear the whole story. But there'll be no protests for Kayla Gillis. Wrong demographics again. I'm curious, even if I look up her name on Twitter. Let's see, let's try this. Let's look up her name on Twitter. Copy. Sorry, no, I didn't have that on the screen. And then we'll just do it in the search on Twitter here. Will her name pop up as a top line CNN article? New York Daily News, Times Union. These are the top articles, supposedly. New York Post. AP comes finally down here. Washington Post. Of course, this was just 2 hours ago, so it's interesting. Sorry, I didn't have those on the screen. There they are. So I'll have these links in the tab, the one tab today, but I don't know. Our world's going crazy, and why that old man was so scared. Who knows? Seems like so rural's a racial component, according to Pete. Yes, definitely. So anyway. There's a couple other articles today in the links, just that I had in case I got to them. One on, well, first of all, this is a good one. I'll just give you a hint. Guess who's behind the 51 Intel officials' letter dismissing Hunter Biden's laptop? Well, apparently there's going to be coming out a report from that one committee. That there's a revelation. The investigation has uncovered evidence linking the letter dismissing the Hunter Biden laptop as Russian disinformation during the 2020 election to Joe Biden's presidential campaign. So apparently, the laptop has since been confirmed to be legitimate, and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence confirmed that there was no foreign disinformation campaign involved. But new information from the House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan and congressional investigators with the help of 2 Obama-era CIA officials has revealed a new twist to the story. The investigation has uncovered evidence linking the letter dismissing the Hunter Biden laptop as Russian disinformation during the 2020 election to Joe Biden's presidential campaign. The unsettling revelation of the evidence linking the dismissal of the laptops to Biden's campaign raises a grave concern about the suppression and censorship of crucial information by big tech and the mainstream media leading up to the 2020 election. So basically, this was some major election interference. Shocker. And then the other article here. And also the 1-2 punch of the Biden crime family. Republicans raise alarm about Biden family after Treasury visit. Apparently, more of President Joe Biden's family members were drawing the interest of Republican investigators on Capitol Hill, who said they are dead set on rooting out any corruption surrounding the White House. Apparently, they found that there are more family members in the Biden family who are getting money from foreign entities. It wasn't just Hunter and Joe's brother and so on and so forth, and Joe himself, the guy that was unnamed. So anyway, if you want to read those articles, those will be in the links. But I got to call it a day for today. I'm going to be continuing to add little short videos out. For some reason, People like those, so I'll keep doing it. I'll have a couple new ones out this afternoon. If you go onto my main page and click shorts, that's where those videos end up. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta go. Thanks for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. As you know, I'm here Monday through Friday, somewhere around 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 Central. Those are usually later. But I open up the thing, and you should get a notification, and it should work on that. So anyway, why is that? Oh, that's stream servicing. So do me a favor. Please share this stream. Hit the like button before you go. And thanks to the sponsor today, GunFox61. If you want to sponsor the show, PDogNight.live during the show, and 24 hours a day is the Streamlabs link. Super Chats, Rumble Rants, Venmo, Cash App. All that information is in the description down below. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. I got to go. My name is P Dog Night, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is P-Dog Night, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Night channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P Dog Night, and I'm out of here.